Okay, children, let's take our seats. We have a lot to learn today.
Being one of the longest running animated series in general, South Park never stops stirring the pot. With 26 seasons plus movies, video games, and specials taking place in this quiet little mountain town, it's time to rank it all. This is the South Park Media tier list. But not every South Park media effort hits it out of the park, so let's kick things off at the bottom with the F tier, which includes the stuff that makes you want to say, "Screw you guys, I'm going home."
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
South Park is celebrated for its high-quality RPG video game adaptations, but it wasn't always that way. Back in the Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, and Dreamcast era, South Park games were infamous, thanks to a trilogy of duds from Acclaim. Leading this underwhelming pack is South Park Rally. As Mario Kart took over, everyone seemed to think a kart racer was a great idea. From Sonic to Crash Bandicoot to M&M's. Yes, really? South Park joined the craze, and it's a prime example of why some trends should just be left in the past. With terrible controls, confusing directions, repetitive voice clips, and minimal involvement from the creators, South Park Rally barely qualifies as a game. If you find a copy, just drive over it with a go-kart. It's probably the most fun you'll have with it. Next up in our F tier is the very first South Park game, simply titled South Park. Developed by Acclaim using the same engine as the Turok games, it's no surprise it hasn't aged well. If the Turok games weren't great, imagine how a game built on the same engine but without any of the charm fares now. Navigating South Park's iconic mountain town quickly loses its novelty, with repetitive enemies, monotonous levels, stiff controls, and humor that just doesn't land like it does in the show. The game left a worse taste in our mouth than licking one of the yellow snowballs you use as ammunition. Next up, the D tier South Park stuff has a few redeeming qualities, mainly that they're not in the F tier. We start with the most recent South Park game, South Park Snow Day. After hating the original 3 South Park games, Stone and Parker vowed to oversee future projects. Unfortunately, their quality bar might have been set a bit low. Snow Day, an action-adventure beat-em-up, was the first game to feature fully rendered 3D environments. However, it suffers from many of the same issues as its predecessors. Lackluster graphics, repetitive enemies, uninspired environments, and clunky controls. True, it's a budget title, but even if you're as poor as Kenny, your money's better spent elsewhere. If you're holding out for a stellar South Park 3D experience, keep waiting. Maybe you'll get lucky with that canceled PS2 sandbox game. Ending our D tier is Chef's Love Shack, the least bad of the mediocre South Park games. Much like how Mario Kart inspired a slew of kart racing clones, Mario Party spurred a wave of party games. Chef's Love Shack tries to capitalize on this trend with mini-games and trivia, some South Park themed and some not. While we won't pretend it's a masterpiece, it did manage to bring some fun with its mini-games and was the first to capture the show's 2D style. For South Park fans, it provided enough novelty to be a decent rental. It also isn't the worst party game based on a cartoon we've played. Looking at you, Rugrats scavenger hunt. That does it for the D tier, so let's dive into the C tier, where things get interesting. First up here, we have what many consider to be South Park's worst season ever, Season 20. After dabbling in light serialization in seasons 18 and 19, Parker and Stone decided to go all in on a continuous storyline for season 20. Instead of a new conflict each episode, we got an overarching plot. The result? A divided fan base and a general consensus that episodes were less distinct and memorable.
And that's just the kind of sexist bullcrap that's gonna keep you in the kitchen. Sit your ass down.
Parker and Stone described this season as their toughest production yet, primarily because they were trying to keep up with current events. A prime example was their coverage of the 2016 presidential election. They planned the season under the assumption that Trump would lose. When he didn't, they scrambled to re-edit an episode in just one day and had to rewrite the rest of the season. Despite these pitfalls, season 20 had its moments. The member berries became pop culture icons, and Gerald and Mr. Garrison had some funny moments.
Remember when there weren't so many Mexicans? Oh, I remember.
The fact that South Park's worst season still has some memorable highlights just shows how high the show's overall quality is. Next, let's revisit the 2 shorts that started it all, The Spirit of Christmas. The first short, Jesus vs. Frosty, was released in 1992 while Parker and Stone were still in college. It featured early versions of the characters, with Cartman actually being called Kenny.
Oh my God! Frosty killed Kenny!
The second short, Jesus vs. Santa, came 3 years later and introduced the familiar faces of Stan, Kyle, Cartman, Kenny, Wendy, Jesus, and Santa, of course. These shorts are much rougher compared to the polished show we know and love, but they're still entertaining with a lot of funny moments. Even from this early stage, you can spot iconic South Park elements like pseudo-morals, Kenny's death, controversial religious parodies, and the Kyle Cartman rivalry. Whether you're watching on YouTube, VHS, or hiding in the source code of Tiger Woods' 99 PGA Tour Golf, seriously check it out. The Spirit of Christmas is a crucial part of South South Park's history. Moving on, let's talk about South Park's first and second seasons. We're grouping them together because they both represent early South Park before it hit its stride with bigger, longer, and uncut. These seasons feature simpler writing, less developed characters, and cruder animation, but they're not without their charm. Iconic moments from these early seasons laid the groundwork for South Park's cultural impact. However, the shock humor and less prominent social commentary mean these seasons lack some elements that made later South Park great. Plus, many of our favorite characters like Butters, Timmy, Jimmy, Towley, Token, and Tweak were either non-existent or just background players at the time. While these early seasons are still funny and hold up reasonably well, the show's humor, characterization, and visuals only improved from here. Except, arguably, for season 20. Maybe we've just had too many member berries. Let's skip ahead to season 25. Recent South Park seasons have been shorter due to the team's commitment to producing 2 extended specials each year in addition to a regular season. As a result, season 25 is only 6 episodes long, which may explain why it didn't have the same impact as previous seasons. This season revisits issues already explored in previous episodes and specials, like mask mandates, cancel culture, and the marijuana industry. Despite this, season 25 isn't a dud. It has some funny and memorable moments, such as learning Token's real name, or rather, we already knew it.
I thought your name was Token.
My name is Token.
If you thought otherwise, you might be part of the problem. Now let's cover one of South Park's specials, Not Suitable for Children, released at the end of 2023 with minimal promotion unless you count the accidentally leaked trailer. This special dives into social media influencers, OnlyFans content, Prime beverages, and Logan Paul, who is hilariously dubbed Logan LaDouche. True to its name, this special is not suitable for children, featuring more explicit nudity than perhaps all previous South Park episodes combined. We can't show much of that here, but let's just say that there were no black bars or blurs covering Randy's junk. Not Suitable for Children is a funny episode and tackles its satire well, even getting praise from Logan LaDouche himself. We're ranking it a bit lower because the humor can get repetitive and other specials covered more important topics in funnier ways. A special that handled its subject matter a bit better is Joining the Panderverse. South Park has tackled PC culture and wokeness since introducing PC Principle in season 19, so you might think revisiting these topics would be overkill, but this special cleverly points out how tiresome it is to be part of PC culture and how everything seems woke.
Will you check under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives under there?
It takes jabs at both sides using Disney and Kathleen Kennedy as prime targets. Although the special suffers from some repetitive humor, it's still solid. Let's shift gears to video games with Scott Tenorman's Revenge and Let's Go Tower Defense Play! Despite their different gameplay styles, one a platformer, the other a tower defense game, these two games are being ranked together due to their similar quality level, publisher, and exclusivity to Xbox Live Arcade. They're a bit tricky to find and play now, but any South Park fan who manages to play them will find enjoyable, if somewhat rudimentary experiences. After a series of critically panned South Park games, these were a step up, though they were quickly overshadowed by the RPG games we'll discuss later. Scott Tenorman's Revenge and Let's Go Tower Defense Play are still fun, even if they're more elusive than Mitch Connor in disguise. One game still widely available is South Park Phone Destroyer. This freemium RTS game was inspired by Parker and Stone's satire of bad freemium games on the show. Released in 2017, it's seen numerous updates, adding new characters, spells, classes, and missions, giving it longevity. We rank it lower because there's not much that sets it apart from other games of its kind, aside from the South Park aesthetic. Returning to season territory, let's talk about South Park's Season 21. After the tumultuous Season 20, the show returned to standalone episodes with a few running story arcs similar to Season 19. Fans generally agreed that this format worked better, but Season 21 was still divisive. Episodes like Put It Down and Sons of Witches were considered some of the best in years.
Oh yeah, Jack and Crack Witch Week, let's do this!
While others, like White People Renovating Houses and Hummels and Heroin, were seen as among the worst. The running story arcs such as Cartman's relationship with Heidi and Mr. Garrison's presidency received mixed reactions. Season 21 has its moments, but it's inconsistent in overall quality. Finally, let's rewind to Season 3. The first few seasons of South Park are often viewed as the weakest, but Season 3 is considered a major turning point. Produced alongside Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, this season marks significant improvements in humor, animation, and storytelling. Fan-favorite episodes like Chinpokmon and Sexual Harassment Panda debuted here, along with the introduction of Butters, the Tweak-Craig rivalry, and the first 3-part episode, the Meteor Shower trilogy. While some episodes, like the reviled Jacovosaurus, missed the mark, Season 3 was a big step toward greater things. With that, let's fast forward 20 years to Season 23. This season was unique for initially not being presented as a full season, instead focusing on a Tegrity Farms arc for the first 6 episodes and shifting to other characters for the remaining 4. This approach divided fans, some feeling that the Tegrity Farms joke had run its course. While this may be true, we can't overlook that this season gave us Banned in China, one of South Park's best and most controversial episodes in years. Aside from angering the Chinese government, oops, Season 23 also features enjoyable episodes like Bored Girls,
I am the strongest woman this state has ever seen.
basic cable, and Christmas snow, despite the overabundance of the Tegrity Farms arc, Season 23 ranks top of the C tier. Now it's finally time to level up into the B tier. While these may not be our favorite pieces of South Park content ever, they are, as Cartman would say, totally sweet, dude. We're diving into the B tier with Season 17. The trajectory for this 10-episode run is a bit of a roller coaster. The first half, hit and miss. We're talking a lot of so-so episodes, not the worst, mind you, but no instant classics. And let's not forget the infamous power outage at South Park Studios, which made them miss an episode deadline for the first, and so far, only time.
Jeez, that's terrible. Then I guess you just have to work within our time windows.
Despite the chaos, the second half of Season 17 knocks it out of the park. Think Black Friday Trilogy and The Hobbit. How could you not love a season with Princess Kenny and the triumphant return of the gay fish himself? Season 17 proves that even with a rough start, sticking it out pays off, just like Kanye with his Hobbit. Now on to South Park's freshest special, The End of Obesity. This one dives into Ozempic for weight loss, US healthcare woes, and our favorite rapper, Lizzo.
Party time, guys!
It's classic South Park, biting satire, stellar banter between Cartman, Butters, Kenny, Stan, Kyle, and Randy, plus a sugar mascot cartel trade leading to a wild high-speed chase. Sure, other shows have done cereal mascots as drug dealers, Robot Chicken, but South Park's take is pure fun.
Only one drug is king in America, and that drug is sugar.
Maybe not the most groundbreaking special, but navigating the American healthcare system is a lot funnier with The End of Obesity. Next up, The Streaming Wars, Parts 1 and 2. Modern South Park often gets flack for juggling two streaming platforms, but hey, it owns it in these specials. They poke fun at themselves, turning Randy to a literal Karen,
Is there like a manager I can speak to?
and making Man-Bear Pig the face of global warming. Plus, PP returns from the forgotten depths of water park ownership. There's shade thrown at NFT-loving celebs, and Cartman with breast implants. Classic. Now let's warp once again back to the past with South Park for the Game Boy Color. Well, almost. Developed in '98, this gem was axed for being too kiddie for South Park's Edge. It vanished, reworked into Maya the Bee and Pals, leaving gamers to dream of what could have been. Great puzzles, iconic characters, humor, and yes, Kenny's cinematic deaths. Game Boy Color or not, it's a must-play for any South Park fan into puzzle platformers. Moving into Season 24, aka the Pandemic Specials. Confused? Join the club. South Park was figuring out 2 specials a year amidst COVID-19, blurring the lines with a season of just 2 episodes. Weird, right? Still, they nailed it. Tackling masks, Trump, and nailing character dynamics, these specials set a solid foundation for what was to come, even if the later specials did steal the spotlight. Got it! On to Seasons 18 and 19, pioneers of South Park's serialized style. Divisive? You bet. Season 18 balances serialization with standalone hits, while 19 dives into PC principle and PC culture. Love 'em or hate 'em, episodes like Freemium Isn't Free and Tweak X Craig show South Park at its serialized best. And seriously, a Whole Foods spawns the town's first gay kids in just 3 weeks? So cool. Seriously though, we love the blooming relationship between Tweak and Craig, which has become one of our favorite, more modern elements of the show. But wait, Season 22 might just be South Park's serialized masterpiece light. It's hit and miss, sure, but nails it with school shootings. That feels weird to say.
No, you shot the wrong one!
E-scooters and Amazon. Plus, OGs like Mr. Hanky and Al Gore return with hashtag cancel South Park trending. It's a rewatch gem after you're done with Red Dead Redemption 2, of course. And wrapping up the B tier is Season 26, South Park's freshest full season. Short but sweet, it's a riot tackling social, political, and tech satire. Plus, Japanese toilets, because why not? Fans call it a return to form, with each episode giving the characters their spotlight. Here's Stan's take. I'm excited for Season 26 of South Park. Never fails to entertain and make me laugh. What he said. Now we're on to the A tier. One might call it kick-ass tier. First up in the A tier, we've got Season 4. After 3 solid seasons and a theatrical hit, South Park came back swinging with Season 4, showing they were only getting started. This season gave us iconic moments like Timmy's debut, Satan and Saddam's reunion, and finally, an explosion, sort of, for Kenny's immortal comeback. Oh, and who can forget the epic boy band sensation of Finger Bang? Now, addressing the Pip in the room, yes, it's the season that brought us the divisive Pip episode, the lowest rated in the series, Screw You, Pip, but episodes like Cartman Joins Nambla, Cartman's Silly Hate Crime 2000, and Fat Camp are just too classic to overlook.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Season 4 is where South Park really found its stride, even if it did trip over that butthole Pip along the way. Next in line is Season 9, a real game changer. South Park ramped up its humor and social commentary to 11 here. Remember Best Friends Forever tackling the Terry Schiavo case right before she passed?
Kenny's BFF says that Kenny didn't want to be kept alive artificially.
That episode snagged the show its first Emmy. Plus, Trapped in the Closet caused a Scientology storm, and episodes like Bloody Mary and Ginger Kids became trends. I mean, Ginger Kids even gave us this guy. It's also Chef's swan song and the start of Mr. Garrison's wild gender journey. Season 9 hit hard at the time and still packs a punch today. Just ask Randy at a baseball game brawl. We're actually going to throw in something unique next. The South Park 25th Anniversary Concert. If you're a South Park fan and you haven't watched this, you need to do yourself a favor and go watch the full thing, which is on the South Park Studios YouTube channel right now. Basically, this was a live concert in which Matt and Trey perform all of the most iconic South Park musical numbers, and they absolutely crush it. From the South Park theme to Montage to Gay Fish, Blame Canada, and Lemmy Winks. Now let's move on over to seasons 14 through 16, the early 2010s era. These seasons were a goldmine of topical humor and deep character arcs. Whether they were tackling oil spills, Penn State, Facebook, or even the secrets of Kenny's immortality in the Mysterion saga, South Park didn't hold back. Who can forget the controversy of episodes 200 and 201? Sure, there were a few duds, but those episodes are like the Cartman of the bunch, unforgettable. And if you disagree, maybe it's time for you to head to San Diego and, well, you know the rest. Taking a step back to the late 2000s, we've got seasons 10 through 13. Riding the wave started by season 9, these seasons were packed with fan favorites, from Make Love Not Warcraft to the Imagination Land trilogy and the revelation of a certain rapper's fishy secret. South Park was hitting its stride. Sure, there were bumps like A Million Little Fibers and Pinewood Derby, but are we sure the late 2000s deserve this spot? You bet we are. We're not even just sure, we're HIV positive. Wait, what? Wrapping up the A tier with a bang, we've got season 5, the final classic season of old school South Park. It's where Kenny stops dying every single episode and Butters steps into the spotlight. Classic episodes like Scott Tenorman Must Die and It Hits the Fan shine here, along with the debut of Jimmy and Towley. Season 5 marks the end of an era and the start of something even more twisted. And honestly, the Scott Tenorman episode was considered so widely over the top when this episode came out, it really shocked everybody in the most hilariously screwed up way possible.
I made you eat your parents.
And Towley, if you're a bit younger, you may not remember, but Towley really took over as far as stoner icons go, which is ironically pretty hilarious given the point of the character was to come up with one so intentionally stupid and forgettable. And now the moment you've been waiting for, the cream of the crop, the S tier. We kick off the S tier with a return to gaming, the Stick of Truth. South Park's first RPG was a game changer, literally. It felt like playing through an episode, complete with hilarious side quests, yes, even meeting Damien at the movies. It's packed with South Park's trademark humor and wit. It features a deeply satirical storyline that lampoons video game tropes, fantasy RPGs, and pop culture with sharp humor. The writing is both absurdly funny and surprisingly insightful. The game didn't shy away from controversy either, but hey, what else would you expect from South Park? But wait, there's more! The Fractured But Whole followed up with a superhero twist, leveling up the gameplay while keeping the laughs flowing. It may not be as laugh-out-loud funny as the Stick of Truth, but it's got the gameplay chops to back it up. If Parker and Stone ever decide to roll the dice on another South Park RPG, count us in. Just no Snow Day sequel, please. And now the bronze medal of quality goes to season 6. Kenny may have been permanently gone, but that didn't stop South Park from delivering some of its most memorable episodes. Aspen, Red Hot Catholic Love, and The Biggest Douche in the Universe are classics for a reason. Season 6 marks a turning point, laying the groundwork for the serialized storytelling that would define future seasons. Don't miss out, unless Mongolians attack, that is. Stepping up to the silver medal is South Park's big screen debut, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. This movie musical took everything great about the show and cranked it up to 11. The animation, the humor, the songs, oh, those songs. It's all here in glorious, uncensored glory. You can't watch it without humming What Would Brian Boitano Do afterward. Seriously, I'll say this movie came out when many of us were in elementary school or middle school, and much like the boys wanting to see the Terrace and Phillip movie, we found a way to watch it. And once we did, we didn't stop quoting it as profanely as possible for months on end. No matter how angry our parents and teachers got, I guess it was an example of life imitating art. And that's what Bigger, Longer, and Uncut is. Art. What else could you call the scene in which they replaced Kenny's heart with a baked potato?
We accidentally replaced your heart with a baked potato. You have about 3 seconds to live.
It's no wonder South Park hasn't made another theatrical film. How do you top perfection? And finally, taking the gold medal, we have seasons 7 and 8. With Kenny back and characters evolving, these seasons delivered some of South Park's finest hours. From Good Times with Weapons to Woodland Critter Christmas, the episodes here are pure gold. Plus, they were crafted during the making of Team America World Police, proving Parker and Stone were just on fire at the time.
What kind of sick bastard would do this to a dog?
Seasons 7 and 8 showcase South Park at its peak, just like Ben Affleck loves taco-flavored kisses.